Hello and welcome back to One World. I'm Linda Kincaid. We are still waiting for US President Joe Biden to depart for the G20 summit and the COP26 as world leaders prepare to yet again discuss climate change. Leaders of one small island nation are increasingly sounding the alarm, confronting large industrialized countries about the climate crisis. Take the Seychelles, a small enclave of islands which sits in the Indian Ocean off East Africa. For decades there now, rising temperatures and weather events have significantly reduced coral reefs, as some researchers say, and that's a threat to the shoreline and to their beaches, and just one of the many examples of how climate change is hurting the country. Because of Seychelles, its small economy, its government can do only so much to help prevent a global climate catastrophe. It's demanding that the world's largest economies act immediately. Well, time now for the exchange. Earlier, I spoke with the president of the Seychelles, Wavel Ramkalawan. He has a very direct message for world leaders heading into COP26 at the Climate Change Summit in Scotland this weekend. Take a listen. The Seychelles is made up of over 100 islands, and most of the people live on the coast. Most of the economic activity happens along the coastline. So even just a small rise in sea level would have dire consequences, right? Yes,
you rightly mentioned we have about 115 islands, but of these we have two groups of islands, the granitic islands, which are around the mainland, the main island of Mai, and then we have coral islands. So the effects on the granitic islands is coastal erosion, but the effects on the coral islands means that some islands will disappear completely because they are only 1 to 3 meters above sea level. So these will disappear completely. So we will no longer be an archipelago of 115 islands, but an archipelago of around 39 islands. So basically, we're now talking of our mere existence. It's not just about an effects on certain islands. And of course, with the disappearance of these islands, this will also mean that the huge bird colonies that we have will also go, because they will not have any place for them to live. So it's real. It's not that we are making up these stories or we are trying to scare the world. Climate change is real for us, and we are being affected directly.
And as you say, Mr. President, this is about your existence, your survival. This weekend is COP26, the 26th climate change conference. We've already seen 25 of them. What needs to happen to ensure that countries like yours not only survive, but thrive?
It is high time the world commits itself, but not only commits itself, because we've had that before. Now is the time for us to move from promises to concrete action. So at COP26, I want the world leaders, the leaders of the industrialized nations, not only to talk, but to put their money where their mouth is. I want world leaders to say, we are going to help the more vulnerable countries because we are responsible. And as a small island developing state, this is what we expect. And yet, again, I will mention, here we are facing all the effects of climate change, and yet we are the ones who are abiding to world resolutions. We now have 32% of our oceans that are under conservation. We have 48% of our small landmass of only some 469 square kilometers, which again are under protection. So we are doing our utmost. We are leading in conservation, in the conservation of the species. But these species will not have anywhere to go if the industrialized nations don't help us. So we are basically crying out for help and saying, we are partners, but in order for us to achieve the saving process of the planet, we need the industrialized nation to come to our help so that there can be a real partnership. Now is the time for action. And this will be my message at COP26.
Mr. President, today fossil fuel executives are testifying at a landmark congressional hearing here in the US. The Democrats questioning them claim that the industry has had scientific evidence since 1977 about the dangers of climate change. Yet for decades they spread doubt and denial. What do you hope could come from a hearing like this in terms of more transparency, more accountability?
The only thing I can say is the scientists are in the West. The scientists know exactly the truth, and the truth has been shared. We also have our own experts, and not only that, but our people see the difference on a daily basis. So it's no longer the time for denial. It's no longer the time for excuses. It's no longer the time for hypocrisy. Now is the time for concrete action. Let us stop pretending. Let us stop making belief. Let us face reality. We have one planet, and this planet is calling on us today. This planet is pleading with us today to save it. Our young people are pleading with us, the leaders of today's world, to come and take a concrete stance. I stand with our youth, because if we, the leaders, don't take concrete action today, there will be no future. The future will just be an illusion. So this is why my call is for action now. Stop the denial, stop the hypocrisy, stop looking for excuses just to enrich ourselves, and because even the enrichment will not last forever, because we will be destroying the planet.
Wavel Ramkalawan, President of the Seychelles, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you very much.